If you have seen yesterday's video, today's video might look a tiny little bit like Groundhog Day without Bill Murray. Welcome, this is Luise Heinzl. Welcome to another video of dephemerember 2024. Today with the same stencil and with the same medium, texture paste opaque like yesterday. Why? Well, if you have found out something which was new to you and, to be honest, pretty mind-blowing, and then you try several other things off camera or on camera in your German video and you find out more things, then it can happen that you feel the need to share that with the world. And that's what I want to do today. And that's why I need nearly exactly the same things like I had on my desk yesterday. Because today's prompt is altered pocket and texture fragments. And that fits just perfectly. It's like happenstance or so that what I found out yesterday with the prompt journaling card and beloved visitor fits so well to today's prompt. But that is good because when we can repeat something, then we can learn more things and we can of course grow as an artist as well, and we can have fun together. And that is what dephemerember is meant to be, having fun together, making ephemera for our junk journals. If you're new here, dephemerember is a collaboration with my dear friend Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. This is me, Luise Heinzl, and we are the hosts of dephemerember. If you want to have this prompt list, if you have questions, you can write a comment, of course, if you have questions, but all of the main questions will be answered on our landing pages for dephemerember. The links are down below in the description box. There you find everything you want to know or you might want to have or so. You can find all of the freebies there and of course the videos and everything we have published. And you can also find our dephemerember mugs there. We have several different designs. Perhaps you have already noticed that I today have another cup here on my tea. I have another cup on my tea. Wait. Now it's a cup on a tea. But that is not what I want to say. I'm so sorry. Another cup on my table. This cup says, what would Luise do now? I need this cup today. Otherwise, this whole thing can't work. But let's talk about that problem later. I need, sometimes you need to drink from cups which say the right thing so that you have the motivation and the courage, how is that said in English, to do what you want to do. So I should mention, if you are new here and you don't know Barbara yet and you don't know how this whole thing works, then let me tell you, every time you see a video here on my channel where I create something with the prompt of the day, you find a video on Barbara's channel as well. So that means today she's of course again showing you another idea on today's prompt, so make sure to check out her video as well. This stencil is by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. This stencil has the number THS037. So I have stenciled this whole paper here with that pattern. This is a little thicker photo paper. I wanted to try this out. I have done this when I did it for testing on watercolor paper, but that was a little too thick for my taste for the thing I want to use it in my journal later. So these shall become the texture fragments, and I found something out that is really mind-blowing for me. So for the first round of stenciling, we need a stencil which has a lot of solid areas, meaning when you take the stencil and you stencil through it, you see more paste in the stenciled area than you see paper. Would you agree to that? I would say this stencil is one like that. And now I'm wondering, because yesterday I found this thing out, can I stencil over this again while the paste is still wet, but with a different stencil, because yesterday I have taken the same stencil again and put it on here and stenciled through it. So the first thing that was while you were sleeping, perhaps, what I did was I was searching for other stencils to put on top here now and stencil through them again. That is exactly the same thought like I had yesterday. The only difference is that it is a different stencil, because yesterday I used the one with the circles for the second round of stenciling as well. What I found out is this technique works the best when the second stencil is the opposite of the first one regarding to the solidness, is that a word, of this thing. So remember, when we have made this, we have more paste, we see more paste than we see paper. Here it's the difference, it's the opposite. Because look, when you stencil through this, you have all of these open areas later, where you then, if this was not here, would see the paper. This pattern is pretty delicate. I found out that delicate patterns work really well, especially these swirly, whirly ones. Also, delicate flowers work really well with this technique. But please try that out with different stencils. I'm also still in the beginning of experimenting and learning more about this technique, because I found it out yesterday. Yeah. So before we go on with the second layer of stenciling, we do something that I would normally never do. We stain this and spritz something to this while it's still wet. So the paste is obviously still wet, but I will spritz this now. Yes, you can do that. No, it will not fall off. But normally you would let this dry and then do something on it. Yeah, but we don't do that. We do everything different today. So I have chosen these colors here. Yes, I know that is really crazy when you compare that with the colors Barbara has in the journal she made for me. But I want to challenge myself a little bit and see if this can work, because I think this is a really cool color combination. We are going to start with Evergreen Bow Distress Spray, and I spritz this on here now while the paste is still wet. Move the spray bottle a little bit like so that you don't get those extreme puddles. If you get them, don't freak your freak, it works anyway, but it's easier if you don't have so many puddles. Salvage Patina Spray Stain. Cracked Pistachio Oxide Spray, because I want that I have a nice oxidation in the end, in some areas. Crushed Olive Spray Stain. And what do you think about a tiny little bit of mica? I think I will freak my freak in a second, because I want to use Jack-o'-lantern mica stain spray now. I know that is really wild with these colors, but Barbara has Forest Moss, Rusty Hinge and Vintage Photo oxide, mostly refiller, used in the journal. And I don't have Rusty Hinge oxide. I mean, I have the ink pad, but I can't go over this with my ink pad, obviously, because the paste is still wet. And this is what comes the closest to Rusty Hinge, even if it isn't Rusty Hinge. Do you know what I mean? But I want to have a little bit of this extreme color here and there. This looks so wild, oh my goodness. And shall we perhaps also... it's not turquoise enough, and it's not this yellowish green. Let's add a tiny little bit of Forest Moss Spray Stain. I have a vision in front of behind my eye. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully that can work now. I will add a little bit of Forest Moss Oxide Spray as well. You might think, what the heck is this? She's layering this over each other, and that makes no sense because she's covering it up. Yes, in this second, yes, but in a few seconds this will make sense, because we will now take our stencil, put this carefully on here, try to don't move it too much, just like this. And yes, the paste is still wet. And yes, I put it into the wet medium here. I take the second stencil and put it here. And now I found out you have two options. The first option, and that is so fascinating to me, take an empty spatula. Yes, it works. Please believe me, just try it out. It works. It seems so weird, but it works. Take an empty spatula with no medium, with nothing. Take your hand, press here, make sure that the stencil can't move. And just go over the stencil like this a few times from the top to the bottom. Just like so. Hold it here and do it in the other direction. That feels absolutely weird. And then, when you lift this off, hopefully your mind is blown, because, do we need this again? Yes, we need this in a second. Because now I have lifted some of the medium off, which makes the layering senseful, which we did before, and the pattern from the flowers is now only on the circles. Can you see that? You have these texture fragments on those circles. Please tell me that your mind is blown. Have you ever seen something like this? I mean, what the heck? This is so easy, and this looks so wonderful. I'm so in love. But there's another option, and that is, yeah, also nice. Make this, clean this, please, before you do what I do now. The second option is take more texture paste and press it here, press the stencil here, and now go over this with the texture paste. Don't be scared, this will get stained, obviously, because the mediums from here soak into the paste now. You get a really uncontrollable, yeah, like happy sludge or so. And you can, of course, now go over this as long as you like. And but the more you go over this, the more the colors will mix, obviously. And when you are happy with that, take it off and dance, or don't know, but look. This is so freaking crazy, because we can now see the circles in the background, and this has so much depth. I nearly can't believe that. And we can do that in a few seconds. I mean, of course, I could stencil with the circles first, let that dry, and then stain it, and then go over that with a tinted texture paste, for example. But with that, I would never get the colors I have here now from layering the mediums and then lifting them up with the stencil. Because what happens when I put this swirly whirly stencil on here and I lift it up, then a little bit of the medium and the paste sticks to the stencil, and I lift that up when I lift the stencil up. And how would you get that? I mean, of course, you could take the stencil, put the texture paste through it, and then dab with the spatula like so to the circles. That would make a similar effect. But the colors, how to get these colors, how to get them so harmonious with the top layer, because the top layer obviously is a mixture from all of the colors. It fits every single time, yeah, because, you know, this happy sludge fits every single time to the rest. It can't be different, because, you know, it's made from those colors. That's crazy, isn't it? So what I then want to know is, if I take this and don't care about this sludge here on the back, you don't necessarily need to clean this, just take it and put it on here again. What happens, and that is something that I haven't tried out yet, what happens if we take texture paste, like here, the same thing like on this part of the paper. But what happens if we put this through here? And now what happens is that obviously the stencil is sticking pretty much to the paper, isn't it? So that means this path from the top of the stencil to the area underneath is closed because it's sticked together. So that means what I have here is a solid thing somehow. Oh my goodness, I can't explain that so well in English. But what I'm thinking is, when I have this here now, and what if I hate this color? Is it possible? Do I need the spatula? No, I can put that into my water. What if I now take spray and spritz over this? What would happen then when I lift the stencil off? I have no idea, but we will try that out now. Okay, if I lift this up now, I think I will get a really big mess. How to get... Oh, it works. Oh my goodness. Let's do this really fast. I think that is the only chance. So that... Oh my goodness, it worked. Look. Okay, so we have that. We are going to let this dry. So this is nearly completely dry now. Dry enough to go on. A cool thing for later, if you have used photo paper or a paper which is not too thick, you get something like this as a nice side effect on the back. I have dried this stencil because now I want to put this on here and show you another thing what you can do when this whole thing is dry. And if you want to bring out this pattern a little bit more and make it even more dimensional. And now I'm going to take some Vintage Photo Distress Crayon. Barbara has used Vintage Photo, the color Vintage Photo in the journal as well. So I think that will fit really well. I use something that is darker and neutral, darker than the rest here, I mean. And I just scribble that here and there, and then I go over it with my finger. Well, why is it... Oh, where is my... I'm going to take this brush here. I think that is easier, yeah, to bring this around. Somehow my fingers are a little bit cold today. That's why I can't blend this so well, but with a tool like this is also by Tim Holtz, this works really well. Yeah, okay. Shall we do that with this as well? I think so, because I really don't like how the flowers came out here. This is not totally what I was looking for, but I think in the whole context later that will look good as well, and we can make this work. When Barbara at 49 Dragonflies made this journal for me, she has put this stuff into the journal. And when she made the journal, and she showed that in one of her videos, she said that she hopes that I can touch this because 2 years ago when she made another dephemerember journal for me, there was some wax paper in the journal, and I was like and freaking out because I can't touch wax paper so well. This is okay. Here, Barbara, on this side where the oxide refiller is, it feels a little bit waxy. It's, well, it's a challenge, but I think it will work. When she made the journal, she said that she's curious what I will do with this page, because this thing has little pockets here. Here you can see these black lines, and in between of the black lines there are pockets. Can you see? And it goes from here, each of the pockets, so here's a total of 3.5 pockets. This thing goes from the top until here where this other black line is. And I thought, let's use this as the base for this whole thing, because when I want to make an altered pocket, the prompt list says altered pocket, then it suggests that I can take a pocket I already have and then alter that pocket. Yeah, that is my idea. So if you don't have something like this, I think you can easily make something like this by yourself by just taking some glycine paper, for example, or like a paper bag, which is a little like this, and then just glue it together. Yeah, just take 2 layers and put the glue exactly here where the black lines are, and then you would have something really similar. Oh yes, that is perfect. I will keep this for something else. And let's take the page, and that is also why I have this cup here today, to have, you know, the strength I need, because I have to think, what would Luise do now? And Barbara asked, what would Luise do with this page? Yeah, so that was the reason for the cup. So what I will do is, I will take this, I will put this in here. Let's now take some 3 in total eyelets, and let's, before we go on, make this a little nicer. I want to use that as a little nice feature. I take this and now I fold this over. You can see here how it will look in a second, because then it's peeking out. So this is obviously the page from the German video. I fold it just like this until the edge of this page. Then I take my crocodile and I make holes in here. Then I take my eyelets and put them in here and set them with my crocodile, hopefully without any accidents. So now, what would Luise do now? Well, I hope you have strong nerves. Barbara, if you see this, I'm really sorry. But I can't see my texture fragments anymore. And that's why I will tear pieces off here. I'm so sorry. Oh no, not like that. I don't want to tear to the very top, otherwise this whole thing would fall out. And I am a pretty realistic person, and that makes me thinking that I will probably not take out these pieces later from the pockets, because I know that my journal will get really bulky and I will probably use it as an inspirational journal, and I will not take these things out. But of course you could take them out. The word altered pocket also suggests that you are allowed to change the pocket in a way that it still looks like a pocket. I mean, this looks still like a pocket, or still looks like a pocket, but who says that I can't staple in here to make, on the first hand, my life a little easier? On the other hand, if I already know that I will not take these things out, why can't I staple in here to get a cool effect? Yeah, and that's why I staple in here. And now here with these torn areas, of course, you can play around like you want. Do that as extreme as you like.
Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore.
Let's take the crayon again and a paintbrush. Let's then here on the edge, add a little bit of the crayon. Dip our brush into water and blend this to get a little shadow to this, so that we perhaps get even more depth than we had before from the stenciling.
From simple scraps to colors bold, we wrap our stories into gold. Each prompt a spark, a joyful ember, bringing warmth and dephemerember. Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our speed.
By the way, if you liked the song you've just heard, that's our dephemerember song. You can find it as a download, linked below in the description box.
It's so creating together forevermore. We share our dreams, our smiles and tears, building bonds that last for years. Through every craft, yours and mine, we find love in this special time.
I really like this, but I miss a focal point here. I have some options here. Let's see what could work here. I have this half butterfly. This is the perspective butterfly die cut by Zizix and Tim Holtz. This is really nice, and I think a die cut in general would work really, really well with this theme. A half butterfly, like a butterfly fragment, do you know what I mean, would work probably as well. This would work, I really like it, but what I don't like is that it covers up so much of, so much of the background, and it covers a lot of my texture fragments because it's simply too big. Go away, please. We have a lot of black here, so I thought, why don't we think about some birds? These are the Silhouette Birds / Love Birds by Zizix and Tim Holtz. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is that? That works really well. That looks absolutely fantastic. Holy cow. I'm surprised. On the other page, so this is definitely an option. On the other page, I have used, let's see if that could work here as well, one of these. Ooh, what are you doing here? And I think now is the time where I should show you the other page, otherwise you can't follow what I'm saying. This is the other page, look. Here's this butterfly in the background, and I have put two of my moths here, so that we have these layers here. These are from my shop. The printable is called Moth and Paper Flutter. The link is down below in the description box. And with this code, you can get 15% off on the Moth and Paper Flutter printable. I will also link some videos below this video where I show you different ideas what you could do with the moths. I gave the code for the German video where I used this, so I want you to have this code as well, even if I don't know yet if I will use the moth as well. But can you understand my confusion? Because I think this is too light. This is really massively dark, but perhaps I should cut out some moths, because I'm just thinking, can we combine the moth wings with the birds? Is that possible? Because I really like the birds here. but I also like the moth on the other page. So what to do? I will cut out some moths now. I like this one because there's so much black. I seriously have a problem now because I like the wings on the birds because it's something, you know, a little bit unusual somehow. But at the same time, I like the moth here without the birds. This makes the background more like stronger somehow. And that is exactly the reason why I will do it like this. So then I want to take these scraps and also another scrap from here. This is my box where I have the scraps Barbara has sent to me, and also some which I had left over from the other prompts. Ugh, that doesn't work. And Barbara and I have decided that we have to use at least one of these scraps we have sent to each other, you know, on each one scrap each day, at least one scrap each day. I mean, this is probably somehow weird, but I think this is where I will break the rules of dephemerember. I'm sitting here, I mean, you haven't seen that now because of video editing. I'm sitting here and I can't find a color from Barbara's scraps which I like to use here. And I can't make that work with another scrap in my brain, because what I want to do is I want to take these and both of these and then sew them on here so that these scraps get then part of the focal point in exactly these colors with exactly this material. And I have the feeling, no matter what I use or what I take out from Barbara's scraps, it doesn't work because it's not the same material. Will I now get into the dephemerember jail or so when I don't do it? And when I don't use the scraps from her? I mean, what will happen to me then? I have no idea. But I have the feeling when no matter what I use, which is not this material, I will destroy my focal point. Look, this looks so harmonious now. So here we go. Here you can also see that Heinzl and Holz is a pretty good combination. I have taken some of the thread from my sewing machine with me to get a little more texture here. I'm going to take this and glue this down. Always when I think about fragments, yeah, texture fragments themselves, I have this in my mind. Gears. I don't know why, but it's a fact. I automatically have to think about gears, and I think in this context that could look really nice if we would add some of these here. I have these left over from a make I made for Sizzix and Tim. The easiest way to attach these now, I think, is by using some brads. I found these golden brads in my stash and I think they fit really well. So I will poke a little hole here. And then I will put these through and spread the legs on the back. Oh, that is a really nice addition, I think. Speaking about nice addition, I want to have a little caption here. I found these flashcards in my stash. They are by Ideology, and I want to build Little Dream as a caption here, but obviously these are too big, so I will just cut around these so that they get smaller. Then I will distress the edges a tiny little bit with my scissors. Some fake stapling so that it looks like it's stapled to the page even if it isn't. So let's glue these down here. This is some tarnished brass distress paint mixed with some water. And now I want to splatter on here, and I want to try to get some bigger splatters as well, because Barbara has these big splatters here also. Uh-oh, that's not so easy. If the paint wasn't mixed with water, it would be easier. But I only have this one here with the water because, you know, I don't have a fresh bottle of the tarnished brass paint. No. Okay, let's leave it like it is. Otherwise, I will ruin it probably. And that is not what I want. So then let's turn this around and let's add a little bit of sari silk. I will take a piece of this and I will cut that a little smaller, thinner, so that the single pieces are not too extremely fat. And then I will just fiddle that through here. I will cut them a little shorter so that they are not so extremely massive. So then, this is my finished project for today. Altered pocket and texture fragments. And I'm really hoping that you will have a lot of fun with this technique I've shown you, and especially exploring your own versions of techniques and ideas. If you want to share what you have created on social media, then please use the hashtag dephemerember. And most importantly, don't forget to check out Barbara's video. She is going to show you another idea on today's prompt on her channel today. And if you want, we can meet here tomorrow again, same time, same place, with another prompt. And that is going to become an adventure, I think, because the prompt for tomorrow is least favorite ephemera and bookbinders art. I am not so sure if I'm looking forward to tomorrow, because we shall do something that we usually don't like to do so much. But, well, let's see. And let's see what tomorrow brings. See you tomorrow. Don't forget to check out Barbara's video. And have a creative day. Bye-bye.